Yo, what is up guys? I'm here hitting you up with a new video. Today we got the Korean live stream that talked about a lot of things that are coming with the upcoming patch and with the next patch. But they announced that they will do some changes to the skills and artifact, as not skills and artifact, skills and the blessing stones, and they already released the changes they are planning to do with the skills and the blessing stones, and I want to go through with you guys together and see what these changes are all about. Let's see. Rune skill balance adjustments. First up, double slash. What kind of changes did they do to double slash? Full moon wheel. MP consumption before, stuff like that. So what they're doing is MP consumption, they reduce it to 80, so 20% less mana consumption, and they change from normal monster to boss or elite monsters, and the multiplier is still the same with 120. I actually don't know what the full moon wheel does, but I don't think that changes anything for that skill, to be honest. I think this is probably going to be the exact same thing, but you know what? I let myself be proven wrong in case it is good, but I don't think so, to be honest. Then we have multiply, actually one of my personal favorite skills, multiply, which has sadly not seen the day of light yet. Light of day. The damage is going up from 612 to 734%, so 100% damage increase basically, and they reduce the mana as well from 50 to 30. And when the skill hits an elite or higher monster, there's a gold version 70% chance that skill cooldown will be reset, cooldown 0.5 seconds. Oh, that's actually huge. That's actually huge, because for those who don't know, the effect of multiply basically is that you can not multi-strike, it buffs mutilate skill, and you can stack it up to 3 times, which basically gives you a 90% damage buff to mutilate, and having a 70% chance to reset that skill so you can spam it a little bit more is good. Plus mana consumption reduction from 50 to 30, so you spam it 3 times or something, so you spend less than 100 mana just to get maximum buffs, plus it does a little bit more damage, is good. But it really, this skill highly depends on how good mutilate is. If mutilate is very strong, this skill becomes even better, because it's all about buffing mutilate. Flame slash, less mana, higher damage multiplier from 780 to 1000%, and whirlwind rush, just a mana consumption. So overall what I'm seeing here is already a trend just going down with the mana consumption overall. But these changes, multiply is not bad, but as I said, depends on mutilate. The rest is like meh. I don't really see anything interesting here. Crushing blow, all the skills got a mana power consumption decreased to 80, so 20% less mana consumption. Nothing else to say here. I think it will not change anything about crushing blow. It will still be the same irrelevant skill. No changes whatsoever. Now multi-strike. Multi-strike, same. So I think this is actually something, it looks like the rune state change is all with mana consumption, so everything will be changed with mana consumption. Let's see if there's something else. Now for rush, they increased the damage by almost 200%. Percussion, they increased the damage by also almost 200%. Illusion, which is the dark skill with the invincibility frames, damage increased by 100% to 641. And each time the skill hits, it increases Jinwoo's damage by 9, 10, 11%, stacking up to 4 times, and before it was 4%. Now this is interesting actually. Now this looks like to me one of the bigger things moving forward, because illusion is a dark break skill with a medium break effect, which has a low cooldown of 10 seconds. Now and it has invincibility frames. Now this skill, 11% damage increase, stacking up to 4 times. So now you hit with that skill, you have now a 44% damage increase. This is actually very huge, because if I remember correctly, that buff lasts for at least 10 to 12 seconds. This one gives you an extreme damage boost for your magnifying slashes. So you can do like a plum into illusion, into moon shadow, and then into mag slash, for example. Or you don't use moon shadow. By the way, this could also be very interesting. No, moon shadow gives you like a 60% damage increase buff, and instead of running moon shadow now to buff up your magnifying slashes, you can now run instead illusion to buff up. It's not as strong as moon shadow, but good enough. And then instead of running moon shadow, you can now run, for example, the spear or the scythe, but Also, you can just combine it with Musha to get maximum max slash damage, but there are different ways to approach it. So I like this change. This is a good one. I think Illusion will see, at least in dark content, more play. Pummel, 10 less mana and increased damage. I don't, yeah, no one will use that. Dagger Toss. Detonation, one of the more used skills I have seen so far. Less mana consumption. Damage is increased to 248%. This is good. And Burn deals damage equal to 150 instead of 80% of attack, stacking up to 3 times. So Detonation will deal more damage. It's a very good fire skill, by the way. It just got even better now. And the rest also just mana changes and damage increase to 870%, 200% for Ascension, but doesn't change much. Mutilate, Cold Storm, that's the water skill. Now, this is interesting, actually. So the damage goes up by 100%. That's not too much, but Frostbite deals damage equal to 250, 400, or 600% of the user's attack. So this is from 400 to 600. And then we have Phantom skill, which no one ever used so far. 60% goes down to 60 mana, and damage increases from 630% of Jinwoo's attack and Jinwoo's max HP to 1000% of Jinwoo's attack and Jinwoo's max HP. Now, what will be interesting, and this is what I will check out with the upcoming patch. So after the current meta, water will be coming next. So the Cold Storm change could be a big one, especially since I just mentioned it with Multiply together, because Multiply just buffs up the damage of Mutilate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going definitely, and Phantom got a huge boost, 1000% from 630, and it scales of both attack and max HP. So we gotta wait and see for that. But theoretically, the combo of Multiply with these two skills could be a new meta change for solo leveling Arise, but we have to wait for till first day to see if that's the case or not. Death Stance changes, a little bit more damage. Eruption, this is the dark skill, got a lot more damage, but I don't think it will change anything for Eruption, because at the end of the day, Eruption basically has to compete against Illusion and Dispersion, and I don't see this being anywhere good enough. This skill, it's just a dead skill. Wildfire is the fire skill, also got a slight damage increase and also just a slight increase to weakness. I mean, nothing too crazy. Yeah, and this sums up for the skills. Let's take a look at the blessings. Monarch's Domain got a change, the skill that no one ever used in solo leveling. So what did they change? The Shadow also deals damage equal to 4% of the value of every second instead of 100. So 4 times the damage. So 4 times 0 is still 0 because the Shadows deal negative damage. This skill doesn't do anything, in my opinion. What needs to be changed for Monarch Domain to be interesting is, first of all, the Shadows attack needs to be changed from 100% to a 1000%, add a 0 at the end of that. 400 maybe to put it to 500, 600. And 2 more things is the duration. 8 seconds is way too short. They need to increase it up to 30 seconds or something for the entire duration of how long these Shadows stand on the battlefield. Less than that is absolutely nonsensical. And also they need to expand on the area of that effect, so it has a bigger range overall, that the Shadows, no matter where they stay, actually benefit from it. And the last change is, I think they need to switch this from empowerment to a defensive type of blessing. The empowerment slot is so stacked with all the stuff, Pulverized, Reawakening, Bloodlust, stuff like that. This does not see play, because you will never use a Blessing Stone which just boosts your Shadow Army, and the Shadow Army does basically negative damage. So to make this worthwhile, this needs insane buffs. This is just whatever. Nothing changes about this. This will still be relevant. Gotta wait and see. Now we have a big change. Advanced Dagger Techniques is a Blessing Stone long forgotten in time. Now it gets an increase from 14% up to 20%. This is actually huge, because this one will actually see play now. Advanced Dagger Technique, in my opinion, because 20% is a huge increase, and it will probably in certain scenarios replace either Bloodlust when the enemies do not have high defensive values, or on the other hand, if there is no break bar, it will replace Pulverized as a substitute blessing. So Advanced Dagger Technique, good change. We'll see a lot more play. Chance of Blood from 30% to 36% doesn't change much about that. It will still be not good. Then we have Wolf Assassin, deal damage to normal monsters. Big, huge buff from 20% to 28%, which is actually big. The problem is we don't really face normal monsters outside of Battlefield of Trial that much, so I don't think this will see much play either, even though it's good. Maybe like in very situational scenarios, this might see play, but I don't think overall. Then we have another change, Boss Slayer, damage increase from 20% up to 24%. Now this will be interesting, because I don't think it will change anything for Boss Slayer in general content, because I still believe that Boss Slayer will not see any play, but where it will see play is in Battlefield of Time, because in Battlefield of Time, where we have certain one-shot strategies, and where boss layer also sees play, based on that, these extra 4% might be the extra beneficial stat we need for boss layer to be used in the Battlefield of Time content. Assassin proficiency changed from 60% to 24%. Also, in my opinion, very huge change, and this Blessing Stone might see a comeback for Power of Destruction, because correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but if I remember correctly, in Power of Destruction it was like that every single attack you are doing in Power of Destruction is basically a back attack, so you're just getting a straight up 24% damage increase. So this should be good, and this will see play. And then Swift Strike, when you use Extreme Evasion, your damage increase now by 28% instead of 16. Oh, this is a huge damage buff for 5 seconds. I still don't think this is enough for Swift Strike, even though the 28% sounds very tempting. The problem with the skill is it only lasts for 5 seconds, and if you know, guys, 5 seconds is a very short time. Basically what it allows you in very specific situations. Now, where do I see Swift Strike being maybe some sort of useful is if, let's say, you're using Plum and the Wukong step, or especially for the Wukong step, you do a Shadow Step, and you gotta think of this one. The Extreme Evasion triggers this effect, not the Shadow Step, just as a reminder. So you Extreme Evade, then you Shadow Step, and by that time you already have lost at least 2 seconds, at least. So you basically only have that up for 3 seconds. So I don't think Swift Strike will see any play even in the future, because of that 5-second cooldown. I think to make this blessing reliable, they need to increase the second from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. But 5 seconds is really not enough. It really does not cut it. Then we have some more changes. Canary's Blessing now from 16 to 20%. It's okay, but I don't think it will see that much play. XP extraction from 5 to 6%. Also not really good. Support Blessing, there are better ones. And penalty quest survival is now changed from 45% defense increase to 6% defense increase. This is probably still the most useless blessing in existence. You have to successfully extreme it 5 times to get a defense increase of 60%. The thing is, with this Blessing Stone, you could remove the entire part about the requirement to activate. Just remove that thing and have it only defense will increase by 60%. It still would not see any play, because there's no reason for Jinwoo to have increased defense. It doesn't do anything. You don't get tankier. It doesn't do anything for you. This summarizes everything for the changes for the rune skills and the Blessing Stones. My personal opinion is I like the change to multiply. The biggest winner, in my opinion, for the skills is Illusion. Illusion is now a big contender for being a very good dark breaking skill, and together buffing your max slashes, and as well giving you the option of replacing Moon Shadow with the spear or the scythe instead, because now you get 44. It's less than Moon Shadow, but it's still good enough, so you can run something completely different. Then we have some good changes here. Overall, less mana consumption is always good. Now Mutilate is a question mark overall, because I gotta wait and see how it plays together with the multiply together. Just it itself, I don't think it has a big impact, but with multiply it could have a bigger impact. Gotta wait and see for that. Nothing changed here. And for the Blessing Stones, I think the biggest winners for the Blessing Stones is for sure the advanced dagger technique, and in my opinion, Assassin's proficiency could see a comeback in Power of Destruction. And yeah, boss layer, just a Battlefield of Time, really doesn't change too much about it. I think biggest winner here is definitely the advanced dagger technique, and the Assassin proficiency could be interesting to use. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm really interested to see what you think about that. And guys, if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below. I really appreciate it, and see you with the next one. Deuces.